Hey, lovers! Welcome to the Book Lovers Club, the podcast where we celebrate Black Sapphic love stories, one book at a time. I'm your host, Joy, a married lesbian, lifelong book lover, and relational communication scholar. Here, we don't just read the romance, we learn from it. I believe that love stories can do more than just entertain us. They can teach us how to love better, how to see ourselves more clearly, and how to create the love life of our dreams. Each week, I'll dive into sapphic stories written for us and by us, while weaving in personal insights and communication lessons you can take off the page. So grab your drink, get cozy, and let's turn the page together. Welcome to the club. Hey, book lovers, welcome back to another episode of the Book Lovers Club. And y'all, happy Pride! Happy Pride! Be who you are for your pride. Okay? It's our time to shine, baby. It's June. I'm excited. The summer is here. It's like officially warm in Chicago. It's the season to be out loud and proud. Actually, I'm that way all year. Okay? I've been seeing all these posts about, it's Pride. Here are some books to read for June. And I don't know, I feel like it's so many people that subscribe to this, like this calendar that we have for the year. And it's like, okay, now it's February. I'll read Black books. Now it's June. I'll read gay books and things like that. Like, no, we read Black and queer all year around here. Okay? And I am just excited for all of the festivities. June is going to be a very busy month for me. Okay. I got a lesbian wedding coming up. So my bestie is getting married next week. And I am so excited to celebrate her and celebrate her love. This wedding has been a long time coming and it is finally here. And I'm just ready to turn up with my boo and be queer. Okay. My family reunion is coming up, and I am not the only gay cousin. So I am really excited to be gay at my family reunion with my other cousins and just enjoy some family time. And I'll actually be missing the Pride Parade because I can't. I will not be going to the Pride Parade this year. Actually, I can't remember the last time that I went to the Pride Parade. It is entirely too many people, and CPD does entirely too much with the barricades and trying to police everybody. But like when I used to go to Pride, we would go to Duffy's because the parade route would go right by the restaurant, and we'd do brunch and go to Duffy's and like kick it. And my favorite Pride activity is actually Pride Fest, which is the week before the parade. So I might go to Pride Fest. Pride Fest is my favorite. I feel like the parade tends to have too many straight people that want to come and they see this as an opportunity. Not everybody, but some people see it as an opportunity to cut loose and do whatever. I feel like the straights sometimes just be in our spaces doing too much. And I can't remember the last time that I actually had fun at the parade. It's just too many people for me. And standing around watching the parade floats go by, I could watch that on the news. But I will be stopping by the Pride Fest. And I'm going to look and see if it's any Black Pride events. But we have our June book club meeting coming up. So our June book club meeting is actually going to be a Sunset Beach meetup that Friday before the parade and all of that. So to kick off Pride weekend. So I'm really excited to connect with my girls. And we're actually going to be reading some summer themed books because it's Pride, it's summer, and we're going to the beach. So I'll preview the books that we're going to be reading for June towards the end of the episode because I actually have a lot to talk to y'all about. It has been a while. Okay, so last week, my interview with Monique Good aired, and I really enjoyed talking with her. And then y'all know I went to Black Romance Book Fest this past week. I am still on the struggle bus. I am tired, okay? I know I give extroverted, but I am very much an introvert and my social meter was tapped dry. But I don't have any regrets. I wouldn't trade the experience for the world. I got my entire fucking life at Black Romance Book Fest. Baby, they will see me again next year, God willing. Okay? because it was the Hunger Games trying to get tickets this past year. That festival sold out in minutes. It sold out. Honestly, I felt like it sold out faster than Beyonce tickets. So the amount of coverage that the festival got this year, I just know it's going to be even more competitive to try to get tickets this time around because so many people, just really enjoy the coverage. Okay, I know so many people reached out to me and was like, girl, I didn't even know about that festival. I was watching your story and watching the footage and I want to go. And I'm like, that's great. I am so excited for them for the visibility and they deserve every ounce of accolade and recognition that they can get because they did that. I imagine this is probably how the Essence Fest, or Afro Punk, one of those festivals felt like in the beginning. And to just be a part of something as it's growing and building like this, like I love to see things from the beginning and like the journey and to know that I was a part of it or that I was able to attend. But I have a feeling that it's going to be even more difficult getting tickets this time around because more people know about it now and we hyped it up. Rightfully so, because they did that. Okay. So I will be talking to y'all about my experience at Black Romance Book Fest in today's episode. But before I get into that, we also had our May book club meeting. And that book club meeting was in collaboration with a Black owned bookstore on the south side of Chicago, which was Call and Response Books. And we had such a great book club meeting. It was so enjoyable. My bestie that's getting married, she actually joined me for a few episodes on the podcast. So if you want to get the vibes, she and I used to co-host a podcast together called Let's Be Real Boo Podcast. And I say used to because it is quite possible that it might make a resurgence. I don't know. We both got married, life be life in, but I can't make y'all no promises that that podcast is gone forever. Me and my girl might hop on the mic again because we have really good on air chemistry. I love recording with her. But she came to the meeting and she really enjoyed the book this month. So, my girl, she exclusively listens to audiobooks for the most part. And I have become an audiobook addict. I don't know where this came from, but I am here now. Okay. So it was really nice connecting with her. And we went to brunch and then she came to the meeting and then her also meeting some of the book clubbers. But it was a really good discussion. I just enjoy books that give us a lot to talk about. And our May book pick that we read for the book club, for the in person book club specifically, was Love and Sports Ball by Mika James. So that book, like I said, it gave us a lot to talk about. We talked about workplace romances, having standards and, do you date with a plan? Are you as intentional as Khadijah or you like to go with the flow like Shay? It was just such a great conversation. And the bookstore was so welcoming. They were so welcoming. And I will love to be able to host some future book club meetings back at the bookstore. I am hoping to strengthen this relationship with them because it was such a positive experience and they really treated us well. Even some of the customers that were there shopping in the store while we were having our meeting joined in the conversation because I had mentioned my love of Big Bang Theory, the TV show. I love it. And how Sheldon, had a roommate agreement and a relationship contract and things like that. And it reminded me of Khadijah and the list that she made. So I made that connection at the meeting. And then someone in the store was like, oh my God, I love Big Bang Theory too. So now we're having a whole conversation across the store about Sheldon and Big Bang and then making connections to the book that we're reading. So I just love the vibes. I did. And it is my favorite bookstore in the city. I love going to Call and Response. I've gone there a few times. I've also gone to some events that they've hosted. So I plan to be a permanent resident at that bookstore. They will see me again. And I definitely spent some money. I bought 4 books while I was there. Okay. One of the books that we're reading this month for June was actually one of the books that I bought from their bookstore. So they always have such a great selection of Black romance books and Black queer romance books. I have gone to several bookstores in the city and I swear they always have the best selection. So they're going to see me again. But this month, our book club meeting, like I mentioned, we're going to go to the beach because it's the start of summer. I'm trying to be outside. I want to have a beach day. I'm actually going to crochet me something that I could wear with my swimsuit at the beach. So I might make like a little cover up and a matching hat or something like that. But yeah, our May book club meeting was great. Now, as far as the conversation goes, for the most part, everybody enjoyed the book. So, Love and Sports Ball, I think our group rating ended up being like a 4 star. Everybody rated it pretty high and they really enjoyed it. But one of the conversation topics ended up being around straight authors who write sapphic romance. Like, what are your thoughts on that? So, one of the book club girlies went and looked the author up on Goodreads. And then it said that, she's happily married with her husband, a stay-at-home mother. They've been married for a while. Like, all of this was in her biography on Goodreads. So, we ended up having a conversation around straight women who write sapphic romance. We don't actually know how the author identifies. Okay, because for all we know, she could be pansexual, bisexual. Just a woman being married to a man does not make her straight. Okay, that does not make her hetero. It is several women out here who are married to men, but they are bisexual, have attraction to women, they identify as pansexual or other identities under the sapphic umbrella. So that is not what we were speaking to, but we don't have any of that information. I actually met the author at Black Romance Book Fest, and she is a sweetheart. Okay, I definitely bought another one of her books while I was at the festival, and she is also participating in my virtual Black Sapphic Book Festival that's happening in September, the Book Lovers Fest. Okay. So I am supporting her. I enjoyed meeting her. She was so sweet. So this is not a critique on her at all, but it ended up being a conversation at the book club meeting because, everyone was just talking like, how do you feel about women who are straight that are writing sapphic romance books? It's hard to know how the authors identify unless they explicitly disclose it. I did not make that a prerequisite for being featured on my podcast. As long as the author is Black and they're writing Black sapphic romance books, I'm going to read the book and, they might be a guest on my podcast. That was the only prerequisite. Okay. And y'all know I also don't exclusively read sapphic books or Black sapphic books. So I am a fan of a lot of authors who don't write queer romances and things like that. But, for example, Jessica Cage, she is one of my favorite authors. Like, I love her writing. I just finished her book, I Accidentally Locked Down a Witch, which, if you've been following me and listening to me for a while, she was a guest on my podcast as well. So I've interviewed her and we talked about that book and I really loved it. Okay. But the other books in that series, the Accidents Happen series, those are all romances that feature hetero couples. Low key, one of my favorite books in the series is I Accidentally Hooked Up with a Vampire. I love vampires, okay? I've actually been thinking about officially launching my vampire only book club. But I love vampires and I love that book. I love Jackie. She's one of my favorite characters in her universe that she's crafted. So I think she did a really great job writing this sapphic story. I love Lacosta's story. There are so many sapphic stories that I enjoy that I think the author's hetero. Like, I think that the author, like Jasmine Guillory, Flirting Lessons is my favorite Black sapphic book. Like, I love that book. That's it's like at the top. It's like in my top 3. Okay, that book was great. She doesn't exclusively write sapphic books, so I don't actually know if she's queer. She could be. I don't know too much about her as a person. So, but it's been a lot of conversation around like, people who are writing books that they don't share the identity. So, white women or non-melanated folks writing Black romance, but it's not a Black romance if it's not written by a Black author. I stand by that. For something to be considered Black romance, the author also has to be Black. Both of the love interests in the book also have to be Black. Like, that is the definition for the genre, okay? And for something to be a romance, it's got to have a happily ever after. I need them to end up together. Okay, but I don't know. Some of my favorite sapphic books are written by women who have also written heterosexual books, or we don't know if they're queer. Like, I don't think they are. So, Yeah, I don't know. We have some sapphic authors, some queer authors who also write hetero romances. I like when authors dabble in other genres and they are very versatile with their pen. Sometimes you got people, they'll, create a different pen name for those books. Like I just think about like Desiree Granger. When she started writing fantasy, she wrote those books under just her last name. So it's a lot of authors that do that. Even audiobook narrators will have different names that they narrate under depending on the genre and things like that. So I don't know, but what are y'all thoughts on that? Do you think that straight women, like we should be supporting them in their sapphic writing journey? Does that matter? Like, what do you all think? But I've had a really busy couple of weeks and I feel like it's really starting to hit me. I've just been tired. Okay, I've just been really tired. And I got a full-time job juggling all of this. All right, I really needed a vacation from the vacation because those book girlies wore me out down in Atlanta. But I just like I said, no regrets. So I ended up taking my wife with me. So she was my plus one. And we were able to get some of the add-ons for Black Romance Book Fest. So we did stay in the host hotel, which I'm really glad that I did. So if you are somebody who is planning to go this upcoming year, I do recommend staying at the host hotel. It was so smooth not having to travel far, going to the different events. If I was carrying books and things like that, I could go to my hotel room, drop the books off, and then go back out. So I didn't buy a cart. I had bought with me like just a couple of tote bags. So I would, put the things that I bought in my tote bags and then just go back to my room and drop them off and then head back. That strategy might not work for you depending on the author that you're trying to see because the lines were crazy. I think social media has really altered our brains to think that some of these numbers aren't a lot of people because in a virtual space, you're like, oh, well, it's not a million views. Oh, it's not this many views. But if you were to gather 200 people, 500 people, in this case, 3,000 people into one space at one time, that's a lot of bodies. Okay. And with that, it came, with just space challenges. So, of course, if we're all trying to get into the same room, we're trying to all get checked in, get registered for something, or trying to see somebody, there's only so much you can do with that many people logistically. Like we're all waiting for the same elevators. So, that many people in a space does create some type of space constraints. But despite all of that, I don't know, it didn't impact me the same way that it did others. I know some people have been on the internet kind of just voicing their concerns and trying to share tips and give feedback for the event host. But I don't know, that didn't impact my experience so much. Like I've been to some smaller book events and they all require you to stand in line to some capacity. So I guess I was just prepared for it because I don't know a book event where you have not stood in line. Like that just comes with the territory. I remember when I went to the Granger book signing event in Atlanta and I stood in line for an hour and a half to purchase her book. And then I stood in line for another hour and a half to get it signed and to meet her. So that right there was at least 3 hours of standing. And then, of course, there might be a line for food, refreshments, and things like that. So yeah, I was in line for at least 3 hours just trying to get my book and get it signed. And that was for a smaller event. Even when we had the book talk here in Chicago for Natasha Bishop, J.L. Seegers, and they all did a book event together with call and response books. So I went to that and I stood in line for about an hour and a half getting my book and then getting it signed. So I don't know. I guess I've gone to book events, so I wasn't surprised by that. I do think that there were a lot of people who are not as immersed into like the book festival, book con culture. So they were very surprised by some of the logistics. So that's just something to be mindful of if you're planning on going to any book events or going to this particular book event when it comes back next year. So tickets are supposed to go on sale in August and the event will be in June of 2027. So next year's event. So if you're planning on going, look, get your body primed for carrying heavy books, carrying tote bags, being able to stand. Look, I definitely wore comfortable shoes. I made sure that I had comfortable outfits. I got some t-shirts made that advertised my podcast and my brand. I was surprised the amount of people that came up to me asking me where they could purchase my shirts or asking me where I got them from. And I was like, "Oh, I just made these to advertise my podcast." The lady was like, "Okay, where can I get it?" I said, "Oh, you want to buy my shirt?" So now I think I'm gonna have some merch for real, y'all, because it was several people who came up to me asking about my shirts. So, like, look, if y'all gonna buy it, I'll put it online. I got so many things that I need to do because now I got to design shirts. People have asked me about my crochet book sleeves, and I got so many things I need to do. So many things, but yeah, I was surprised by that. Also, another pleasant surprise. A girl that is a fan of my podcast and everything that I'm doing, she came up to me at the event and introduced herself. And y'all, I felt like a whole celebrity in this bitch. Okay. I was like, wait, you were looking for me? Like, you wanted to meet me? I couldn't believe it. I'm like, really? She was like, yeah. So we took a picture together, and I don't know, it really made my day. Okay. I felt like a whole celebrity. Like, so Tasia, girl, thank you. You like made my whole day. So I'm glad that we got to meet. In fact, honestly, I met some amazing people at this festival because, like I mentioned, you'll be standing in line for a while, especially depending on the authors that you're trying to see. So with that, you could do what I do. At some point while I was standing in line, I definitely had my Kindle out and I was reading books because I had some arcs that had to work through. At some point I had my AirPods on because I was listening to some audiobooks. So one thing about me, baby, I am going to read. Okay, that's the one thing that we all have in common. We love to read. Nobody's going to judge you for being out in the wild reading. Okay, so if you are someone that's more introverted and you really don't want to talk to nobody around you, you do not have to. However, if you are a chatty patty like me on occasion, I'm going to talk to the people in line, especially if we're all waiting in line for one particular author. That means we're all a fan of this person. That's why I like the book events. They give you something that you could talk to somebody about, a good conversation starter, something that you have in common with this other person that's standing around you. It makes it a lot easier for the conversation to flow. So I had did pre-orders for Jaquel J. And I got all of the Delgado series. I got everybody. I got Capone's books, Capadonna and Capri's books, and then I got Don Caselli and Menace's book. So I feel like I hit the lotto, okay, because I got all of those books. But I stood in line for an hour and a half in her pre-order line to pick them up. But while I was in line, I'm talking to the girls around me about the books and about her and about our love of her and how we don't play about Miss Arthur lady. Y'all be calling us a cult, and is, okay? And I will gladly be in that woman's cult. And y'all gonna keep playing with her. I know what it's like to be a creative and have to build something. And I'm gonna give that woman her props. She really be out here hustling, and it's just amazing to witness what she's built. And I haven't been a day one fan. I didn't discover her books until last year. And just to know the catalog that she's amassed and how many books she's published in the time frame that she's had, like, it's really inspiring, and I just am so impressed. Okay. But I definitely stood in that hour and a half line to get my pre-orders for her. But the line, her actual book signing line on all the days, it was just so long. So, a lot of people, they weren't able to go and sit on the panels and go to some of the other add-ons and things like that they wanted to, because they had to stay in line to try to meet her and get books and things like that. So that's another recommendation. If you have the opportunity to pre-order the books that you want, jump on that opportunity, okay? It really did free up a lot of my time. So I went to like 8 panels. I think I went to 4 panels each day. Those panels were phenomenal. Oh my God. Phenomenal. I enjoyed them so much. They were great. I was not ready for Zane. Y'all, they had Zane. Look. And her little freaky ass looking like a grandma up there talking crazy. I was getting my life in her session. Okay. Zane is a nasty lady. I love it. I love a little freaky ass. Okay. Oh my gosh, she gave me so much life. So much life. If y'all were not able to go to the panels, baby, you missed out, because they were the highlight for me. I am a nerd for real, and I am an educator. I have gone to conferences that are education specific, and I can tell you right now, not all of the panels are good. And oftentimes you'll end up in a session and the information is repetitive. You're like, we already do something like this. I can't really use this. It's just nice to be able to go to a conference for work and have them pay for it. But you don't always get a lot out of the sessions. I'm being honest with you. I didn't feel that way about none of the sessions. I was blown away by the amount of information and game that they were putting us up on in these sessions. Y'all, oh my God. And I could listen to Kennedy Ryan, Danielle Allen, J.L. Seegers, even though she had lost her voice after doing trap karaoke, Tia Williams, Jessica Cage. Like, I could listen to them talk all day. I love when they speak. There's just so much information and wisdom when they're talking, and how they really pour into their fans and tell us about their process and sharing tips on how to overcome writer's block. Like, if you are someone who is an aspiring writer, going to these author panels really is a game changer. Okay, because they really are giving you the recipe. They are sharing like real tips on how to do what they do. And I was soaking it up. Honestly, I feel like those sessions should have been recorded. I would love to be able to go back and rewatch it. I should have been taking notes. Honestly, especially when Kennedy Ryan speak, baby, I need to be taking notes because she just is so informative about things and will really like word things in a way that's just so profound. She's profound. Okay, I am a big Kennedy Ryan fan. Every single time that lady name popped up on the agenda, on a panel, on an event, I went. I went to everything that she did. Okay, every single if she was a moderator, a panelist, anything, I went. Okay, I didn't miss nothing Kennedy Ryan did. I am a fan. I just love when she talk, and it's just so educational. I was nerding out for real, and that's the beautiful thing about being in spaces like this, to be able to nerd out in peace. Nobody's judging you. Nobody's making you feel like, oh, nerd, like, no, it just being around like-minded adults that have a equal shared passion as you. Like, it was just such an affirming, empowering, and beautiful space. I really went through a slump coming back home. I really did. Like, my adrenaline was high just being there, and then, coming back home, I just felt it. One, my social media was dead. I was tired. That was a lot. Like, I don't think I slept a lot on this trip. Definitely was moving around. The parties, the turn up, baby, we had concerts. Jay Holiday, Pleasure P, Lloyd, Carrie Hilson. Oh my God, we was turning up. And they were good concerts. Like, being able to be in those spaces and it's so intimate like that, to be able to be that close to the stage and shit. Like, oh my God, the book girlies know how to turn up. I had a good time partying with these girls, okay? And then I went to the after party, Litnick, that was hosted by Shop Out of Print. Brandy's the owner of that store, and I love her merch. She really makes some of the best bookish merch out here. So I definitely stood in her line too, because she had a line. Okay, we were waiting to get merch from her. And I got me some new Kindle inserts. I got a new journal. I don't know if y'all know that, but I collect journals. I love journals. And a keychain. And I got an airbrush t-shirt at the Litnick event because she had a live airbrush artist there. So I bought a shirt from her and then had my name added to the back of it. And look, when I tell y'all we had a time, we had a time. I mean, I also went to the comedy show. So Ava Coleman from Abbott Elementary, she was the headliner for the comedy show. Okay, all of the content creators that were moderators and facilitators for these panels, they did a phenomenal job. And I just really enjoyed myself. So their applications open up this week for vendors and creators and things. So I'm going to see what process it requires to become a podcast partner. I would even be really interested in hosting some type of mixer for the queer women that are at the festival, because I feel like that was a missed opportunity. They did have a panel that catered to sapphic romance, but there wasn't like an event where we could get to know each other and build relationships with each other, because the panels were only about 50 minutes long and we were there really soaking up the knowledge from the authors. So I don't feel like it provided the right space for us to try to make connections with each other. And that's what I would want to be able to provide, is to host that space, or I just want to be involved in some way. I'm just so excited for this event. And there are more book events that are coming up. So I am going to the Chicago Urban Book Expo that is in September. There are some author specific book events that are happening in June. So Jaquel J, she's having a book event here with the Honey and Hugh bookstore. And then Granger is having a book event here with Call and Response Books. So I'm going to both of those. I don't care how many times I'm going to see these authors. If they having an event and it's in my area, I'm going. Okay? I'm a fan. And I don't care about letting people know that I am a fan. One of my favorite content creators, I got to meet her in person, Cassidy. Okay, I love her content. Like, she's so sweet, for real. And it was a lot of people that were just really nice and really sweet in real life. Maya the Don. Okay, so I know I told y'all I love women's hip hop. I am a lover of women's rap. I love all the rap girlies. I don't care. Okay, I listen to everybody. I listen to everybody. All right. And I love Maya the Don. So, we ran into her at the comedy show and she was just talking to us like she was just some regular schmegular book girly. Like she ain't the Don. Like she ain't her. You know what I'm saying? And it was just so refreshing. Okay. Like you interacted with me like you just a regular book girl. But like hopefully she performs next year. She needs to be performing for us. Okay. So I could be up there singing the songs. Okay. Because part of the reason why I be rocking my Telfie is because of her. Okay. And I still be like, we don't be fucking with no Dusties. Like, and her new song slap too. Miss Irresponsible. Love that song. Okay. And a lot of people were sharing stories about how she was not given like ego and celebrity status. I loved it. Okay. She's so sweet. So I'm going to continue to support her. Continue to support. It made me love her even more. She even came on my thread and responded to me when I was giving her props because she was just so nice. And I was just really appreciative. So I told y'all my wife came. So she didn't have the same add-ons that I did because they sold out. So she couldn't go to the keynotes with me. So while I was at the keynotes, she went to other sessions. Y'all know she went to an audiobook narration session and told them people that her wife is trying to become an audiobook narrator. And they gave her all these resources for me. So I'm really about to look into this because to have a partner that believes in you like this, okay? So a few people have told me that I need to look into becoming an audiobook narrator. And I think it's because I listen to so many books narrated by Wesley Shaban. And I just don't know if I could do what she do. Like, that woman is a voice actor. Okay? How she can switch up her voice for all these different characters and stuff. I feel like I would need to take acting classes, baby. I gotta be in somebody studio practicing something. But I recognize that there's levels, and maybe with a little practice and in due time I can get to that level, but I shouldn't let that discourage me. Okay, so but the fact that my wife went to this session and was like hyping me up and promoting my stuff and telling people about me and finding resources for me, like, I'm just so grateful. But she enjoyed herself too. So we're already talking about going to the next one, like I said, together. My bestie and her wife, they were watching my footage on my story and stuff, and now they want to go. So some of my book club girlies, after they saw the footage and everything, they like, oh, we want to go. So we'll see if we can all get tickets, and it might be a little group of us that can go next year. And you know me, I like matching, so I definitely get us some matching shirts and shit. But I just had a time. Black Romance Book Fest owes me nothing. I had a time. I had a time. And I'm still like trying to recover. Okay. I just have not had any energy this week. I haven't. All right. I will say this was a motivator for me to get my ass in the gym. Okay. I'm going to be doing different exercises. I need to prep my body for carrying books. So we finna be doing some more farmers carries because my forearms were on fire from carrying them tote bags with the books in them. Okay. Forearms were on fire. So I was worried about getting all of my books in my haul that I got from the festival back home because even in our swag bags, they gave us so much free shit. I literally left this festival with so much stuff. I know that it was going to be over 50 pounds. So going to the festival, I took a empty suitcase with me and I put my clothes in that bag and checked it. And then I put all my books in my carry-on because they don't weigh the carry-ons. So I did that so I can get my books through TSA and get them home without having to ship them and shit. My wife and I didn't board at the same time. So I had to put that bag in the overhead bin and almost died. Y'all, that damn suitcase fell back on me because my arms was like, bitch, you thought. Look, knocked my glasses off, my nose ring popped off. And then I was like, please don't let anybody be recording me because this was embarrassing. I mean, when I tell y'all that suitcase almost took me up out of here, that suitcase almost took me up out of here. Okay. So now we need to be in the gym preparing our bodies for BRBF 2027. So I'm finna get this upper body strength together. I also need to be in somebody's twerk class. The amount of ass that these girls was dragging wagons, because on social media, all we see is you from the neck up most of the time. Okay, I did not know. All right, now y'all might out ass me, but y'all can't out titty me. I got a nice rack. Okay, do people still say that? Anyway, I got a nice rack. All right. And sometimes I be thinking I'm a little young co. I know how to bounce them bitches too, okay? But I need to get in somebody's twerk class because I couldn't keep up. I couldn't keep up. It was so much ass shaking, and I need to get on my Zoom. I need to practice so I'm ready for next year. Y'all not finna out ass shake me. Okay, I'm gonna keep up. I'm gonna keep up. So I have a whole workout plan now just to prepare me for next year's festival. Cause I'm finna be in that bitch. I had the time of my life. The time of my life. And I can't stop telling people about it. Anybody who will listen, I am telling them. There's this misconception that Black women don't read, or not even just Black women, that Black people don't read. There's a stereotype, this misconception. To be in a space with that many people who are readers, and this is just a genre, romance, Black romance. It's so many other book events, that are popping up. So we are showing the publishing industry that there's money here, and people will show up and support and spend a bag on these authors. Okay. So, y'all, I just left with my cup full. It runneth over. I had a great time. I had a great time. I'm still on a high. But yeah, we got to get our bodies together. I'm going to take me a little makeup class. I think they need to add that to the event, have a makeup class or a makeup lesson. The way that the book girlies had them faces beat, y'all got to be professional MUAs. I need a tutorial. I need a lesson. I don't even know how to apply lashes yet. I've watched tutorials, y'all. I've tried. I don't know how to apply eyeliner. I don't know how to put on no lashes. And it ain't for a lack of trying. I've practiced. I be poking myself in the eye, doing all kind of shit. I need help. Okay, so hopefully they can offer a makeup lesson, or at least a makeup artist that's taking, clients while we're at the hotel, because I would have paid money to get my makeup done for the R&B event or for Bookchella. Speaking of Bookchella, okay, the fans that they gave us in the swag bag literally spelled Bookchella. I ain't never seen no shit like that. They really outdid themselves. Like the swag bags, just all the freebies. My God, I got a free book. I got The Princess and the PI, and I got so many queer books. So I'm going to make a post, or I may actually talk about that next week in my next week episode. I bought so many queer books while I was there. I really tried to stop by all the authors, but it was difficult. I missed Chinsia C. Higgins. I had really wanted to see her in person. I just interviewed her, and her interview will debut at the end of this month. But we just connected virtually, and I was so excited for the opportunity to meet her in person and just never got the chance. When I tell y'all that schedule was like jam packed, in between waiting in the lines and then trying to find people, I was pulling up the map trying to find tables and stuff, and I just couldn't get coordinated. So she's the only author that I was like desperately trying to meet, and I just couldn't figure it out and couldn't get it. So I hate that I missed her. I'm hoping that there will be another opportunity for us to connect in person. But man, I couldn't meet her. I wanted to meet D.O. Robinson. We were making plans to connect in person. So there were a couple of misses. I went to Erica Alexander's panel, but I didn't get to stop by her table to purchase books from her because I really wanted to get a signed copy of The Rhythm of Rain at Dawn. So I might just go to the website and buy something. But I was trying to actually go to the table, but y'all, it was kind of chaotic on Saturday. And then I was really excited about some of the panels. So it just made it difficult trying to coordinate. But I met so many cool people. I met Lindsay from Books and Banter. So she's the content creator that's going to be facilitating a workshop for the Book Lovers Fest. So we had a moment to connect in person. And she's so sweet too. I already knew that though. Like when her and I met virtually, like it was vibes. We literally stayed on our call for hours. So being able to see her and connect with her in person and the vibes were still there, like she's a sweetheart too. I really tried to meet everybody that I either interviewed or I've connected with virtually in person. So for the most part, I was able to do that. So I just had a really good experience and I left with some great books. I have a nice haul. I'm actually on a book buying ban. My plan is not to buy any books this month. I will let y'all know how well I do, okay? I had actually told myself I wasn't going to buy any books outside of the books that I pre ordered, and that was a lie. I don't know why I told myself that because I definitely went in there. Like when you're in this space and everybody's spending money and it's, good vibes and you meet a new author and you're like, oh, I want to support you, or that book premise sounds good. Like it's really hard to resist. So I definitely bought several things while I was there. And one thing I'm really excited about. So Corinne, I think that's her name. She makes a bookmark that turns your paperback into a purse. Like you can hang it on your shoulder like it's a purse. So I bought two of those bookmarks. So I'm excited about that because sometimes, like when I am actually reading a paperback or a hardcover book, I don't want to put it in my bag and then it get damaged in the bag. Sometimes like the cover gets messed up or pages get bent. So I got two of those. So I'm really excited because I read more than one book at a time. Like I'm actively right now reading a book on my ebook, listening to an audiobook, and reading a paperback. Which leads us into the whole reason for this episode. I've been talking about this damn festival for so long, but it's June. It's a new month, and we have new books to read. Okay, and this month we are doing a summer theme because our book club meeting is going to be at the beach. And I am just excited that summer will be officially here and it's warm and I could be outside. Okay, and I just wanted to read something that was in the season of that. So, the two books that we are reading for June are The Summer Breakdown by J.S. Jasper. So, she is one of the authors that's participating in the Book Lovers Fest. So, every month, one of the books that I'm reading is a book by one of the attending authors because my goal is to read at least one book by all of these authors before the festival gets here. So I've just been slowly working my way through. And I've made good progress because some of the authors I had already read before. So the ones that I haven't read, I'm like reading their books and things like that. So I'm slowly chipping away and reading something by everybody that's participating. But this month, we're reading a J.S. Jasper book. So that's Summer Breakdown. And then the other book that we are reading is Summer Official by Rebecca Weatherspoon. So this is one of the books that I got from Call and Response Books when we went there in May for our book club meeting. When I picked up the book and read the premise, I said, oh, this is right up my alley. And it's a young adult book. So I'm really excited to read that. But that's why I'm reading multiple books right now because I'm reading the Summer Breakdown on my Kindle. I have the paperback for Summer Official, and I'm currently finishing up a Jacquel J audiobook. So I'm reading all of those at the same time. So when I'm crocheting, I'm listening to my audiobook. Speaking of crocheting, I crocheted an outfit for Black Romance Book Fest, y'all, and it turned out so well. I will say that I probably needed to make the skirt smaller because as the night went on, it loosened up a little bit too much. So I'm going to add some elastic to it because it's a little too big now. But either way, I'm just proud. I finished the outfit. It was my first time making a polo top and it looked really nice. If you want to see what it looks like, I did post pictures of the outfit to my Instagram page. So go check that out. Okay? But before we conclude the episode today, this is probably one of my longest episodes of me just rambling at y'all by myself, okay? But I had so much to say, and I feel like it's still things that I didn't cover. So I might be talking about Black Romance Book Fest for the entire month. I can't make y'all no promises, but it's still fresh on my heart. And I had so much fun, and I just want to tell somebody about it. It was great. But, okay, like I said, the book that we're reading is Summer Breakdown by J.S. Jasper. And this is the book description on Goodreads. This summer is Frankie's. She's an over-prepared Black lesbian, and her rugby team is a few months away from doing the unthinkable, being promoted to the championship. Somehow, she's still happy, healthy, and at least half alive. To get there, she spent her entire life with structure. All she needs to do is stick it, take her pills, coach the Titans, and sleep with a different woman each week. And then she meets Jasmine, and she's never prepared for something like her. Jasmine is using this summer as a fresh start. She spent her life hiding who she is, and she's not doing it anymore. She packs up her children and runs to the prettiest place she can find. Tosher is cute, so starting her life over at almost 30 isn't the worst thing she's ever had to do. But it turns out that making friends as an adult is. Then she meets Frankie at a bar. Jasmine thinks she's finally figured it out. Until Frankie leaves without a word, and Jasmine attempts to forget all about her and her ridiculous arms. Meanwhile, Frankie's desperately trying to figure out how to see her again. But Jasmine's son joining the Titans junior team is something neither saw coming. This summer is supposed to change their lives, but will it be for the better, or are they headed for a breakdown? Ooh, that sounds good. That might be a good follow-up to Love and Sports Ball, okay? Because this kind of sounds like it's giving some forbidden romance forced proximity vibes with her son joining the team that her potential new boo might be on. Okay? Let me see how that compares to what we read last month. But that's good. That sounds good. And I don't think I've ever read a book about a rugby player before, so this is something new for me. All right. The other book that we're reading is Summer Official by Rebecca Weatherspoon, and this is the book description on Goodreads. Opposites attract in this contemporary, sweet, sapphic romance about two girls who reluctantly come together for a summer challenge. Heaven and Sailor could not be more different. Sailor is bubbly, popular, athletic, and always partnered up. Heaven is grumpy and artistic, prefers her skateboard to people, and has never dated anyone. So no one would believe they'd agreed to spend the entire summer together. Yet, that's exactly what happened. When Sailor Ford breaks her arm at basketball camp, distracted by her mom's internet fame discussing Sailor's newfound sexuality, she becomes determined not to spend the summer stuck at home with the woman. Her one saving grace is a girl she's pretty sure she can't stand her, but that she finds absolutely irresistible. Heaven Goo Campbell. Thankfully, Heaven is willing to let Sailor in on her summer bingo challenge, but for a price. Sailor has to help Heaven establish a social media page showcasing her art for her future career as a tattoo artist. They didn't plan on the intimacy of spending each day together and deepening feelings that followed. Soon they become something more than a shared project. But can the girls even have a future together when Sailor is wary of bringing their relationship out into the light? Too afraid that her mom's status as a popular influencer will give Sailor and timid Heaven more attention than they can handle. Ooh, that sounds good too. I think these are some good book picks, especially for the month of June because it's Pride and reading books where people are navigating, coming out, and learning to live in their truth. I think those type of stories helped me a lot when I was first coming out. So I'm excited to read some this Pride season, but I am planning on reading queer books all month long. But like I said at the beginning of this episode, we read Black and queer all year around here, and this month is no different. Thank you for tuning in to the Book Lovers Club. If you love today's episode, make sure you subscribe so you never miss a chapter. And if you're feeling generous, leave a review because those reviews help other lovers find us. So if you want to keep this conversation going, please join me on Instagram or hop on over to Fable to join the virtual book club. And until next time, remember, the stories we read can help us write the love lives of our dreams. See you next Sapphic Saturday.